There is absolutely no doubt that UFOs exist, or unidentified aerial phenomena as they're now called, in that there is stuff in the sky that people, even trained pilots, can't identify. So what are we seeing here? Are these experimental aircraft being kept under wraps? Is this alien craft from another planet? Or are we seeing something completely different? There are many reports that are really difficult to explain, where shapes fragment and reassemble, which pilots are describing as being almost interdimensional. Let's take a look at this US Navy footage.
The whole fleet of them, look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like... Look at that thing! It's rotating.
Nickel 6-1 Tango, Roger, over.
Oh, got it! Woohoo!
Roger, there's...
Quick down, man. Did you box moving target?
No, I took an auto track.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Wow, look at that, man. Look at it fly!
Now I get the video evidence, it's really compelling, and the little boy in me really does want it to be true. I love it to be real aliens in a real spaceship from the other side of the galaxy, but I really don't think that's what we're seeing here. Now I know the new term in use is UAPs, but in my mind they will always be UFOs, and the first thing I think of when someone mentions UFO is ET, Close Encounters, love that film, and the Cadbury Smash advert from the 1970s.
On your last trip, did you discover what the Earth people eat? They eat a great many of these. They peel them with their metal knives, boil them for 20 of their minutes. Then they smash them all to bits. They are clearly a most primitive people.
Or mash, get smash.
Now, the biggest event in UFO history obviously belongs to the Roswell incident, when an alien ship supposedly crashed near Corona, New Mexico in 1947. And there's been a heck of a lot of controversy around the UFO phenomena ever since. But we don't seem to be any the wiser. I mean, we've had people who claim to have been involved in reverse engineering alien craft and seen alien bodies, but largely without any real evidence, or it's kind of come from a third-party source. There is a claim that the Roswell crash was exotic Soviet tech built by Nazi scientists in the Soviet Union, the story being that Stalin purposely crashed a craft in the US with surgically modified human bodies on board. So, I mean, some of this stuff gets quite bizarre. Now, Max Brazel, the rancher who recovered some of the Roswell crash debris on his land, stated that it consisted of tinfoil, rubber, and timber, which doesn't really sound like alien tech or that it's traveled millions of miles to get here. And how could the aliens possibly crash after navigating solar storms, asteroid belts, cosmic radiation, light years across the universe? That's got to be either the worst or the unluckiest pilot in the universe. Maybe I'm just being too logical here. The alternative seemed to be, to the Roswell event, was an experimental high-altitude weather balloon, an experimental aircraft, an attempt by the Russians to discredit the US government, or the worst alien pilot in the whole of Starship Command. And then more recently we have David Grush giving the he said, she said evidence to a US congressional committee who had not seen any evidence of extraterrestrial bodies or craft himself, but has spoken to lots of people who were in the know. Well, what does that mean? Look, there are 5.5 billion smartphone users on planet Earth. Now, surely somebody somewhere would have taken a snap of an alien by now. And as far as secret facilities with alien tech and even bodies is concerned, I don't think any government on the planet could have kept that under wraps for this long. Do you? And what about the Peruvian alien babies? Jay Massan claimed that these mummified bodies allegedly found in a Peruvian mine were not of human origin. A previous mummified figure that James discovered, that was reportedly alien in origin, turned out to have the head of a llama. So I'm not sure if this is a great example of credible evidence for alien life. I think Enrico Fermi got it right. Enrico was one of the team developing the nuclear bomb. Pretty clever guy, and he asked the simple question, if life is so likely elsewhere in the universe, where is everybody? Ian Crawford, a professor at Birkbeck University in London, is also a skeptic. He said the absence of evidence may be telling us something. You don't say, Ian. There may be many hospitable planets, but the process of atoms to organize themselves into molecules and then into self-replicating cells is a really, really, really complicated process. The one phrase that keeps leaping off the page is lack of credible evidence. And when I say that, I mean a lack of credible evidence that these phenomena are physical craft and physical aliens. But what about the people who claim to have been abducted by aliens? And there are a lot of them. According to recent research, some scientists believe that this phenomenon is down to a type of sleep paralysis, but some experts reject that idea because abduction experiences simply don't fit the evidence. It can happen during the day when people are awake and alert. Now, Joseph Jordan of CE4 Research Group has investigated over 600 cases of claimed alien abduction through the Mutual UFO Network and makes the claim that abduction experiences are not a physical experience at all, but a demonic, visionary experience that convinces the victim that it's real. Someone who claims to have experienced alien abduction will relive the experience repeatedly over and over again. And the only thing that appears to stop it is calling on the name of Jesus. As per these 600 cases that Mr. Jordan quotes, after the experience, they wake up and they find themselves back in their bed or in their vehicle. And once they call on Jesus to help, the abduction experiences just stop, never to be repeated. And that is the only circumstance in which the alien abduction experiences stop for good. This is the finding that's really upsetting the UFO community. This really isn't what they want to hear. They want this to be a real physical experience from physical aliens and not a spiritual event. What's really interesting is that when you take the content of the messaging from the alleged aliens and you look at what's actually being said, it's very anti-Jesus and very anti-Christian. So that just raises some questions straight away. I mean, why would an extraterrestrial feel the need to have a go at Christianity and not any other religions? It doesn't attack Islam, it doesn't attack Buddhism, it doesn't attack any other faith for that matter. The other strange factor is that there's been a whole plethora of new UFO religions over the years that point to abduction by aliens to be a spiritual event and not a physical one. What better place to start to understand the spiritual nature of the alien contact phenomena than with George Hunt Williamson? Now, this guy pulled out the Ouija board, but he wasn't trying to contact dead grandma. No, he was reaching extraterrestrials. And Williamson started as a medium for our little green friends. Like many other leading names in the early ufology community, Williamson used occult practices to communicate with extraterrestrials. When the mainstream image of the public was, and still is, that ET is super advanced tech and science, so why is there such a proliferation of people within the UFO community that practice New Age and occult methods to talk to our ET buddies? Give an example. The founder of Swedenborgianism, Emanuel Swedenborg, used the occult and claimed to use astral projection to gain insight from supposed spirit beings on other planets. The founder of Theosophy used occult channeling when the aliens possessed them to use their voice to communicate and their hands to write with. The Urantia Foundation used trance channeling in which aliens dictated a message to a psychiatric doctor through his patient. The Figu Society and the International Raelian Movement both used telepathy to communicate with aliens. Ernest and Ruth Norman, the Unarius Academy of Science, received telepathic and psychic communications from aliens, and they taught on things like clairvoyance. The Aetherius Society, founded by a London cab driver, George King, believed that UFOs would bring the Earth into the New Age, used occult channeling and clairvoyance, and taught that Jesus moved to Venus after his resurrection. Then there's the Collins Elite, a mythical, shadowy group, men in black type people reputed to be made up of military and intelligence types who concluded that the intelligences behind the UFOs were demonic entities from a parallel dimension. It's all very weird, but I think the Collins Elite idea may be the closest to the truth. And during the First World War, a gent by the name of John van Valkenburg claimed to have made contact with an alien race called the Adept. They gave him his own little alien craft that he could fly up and visit the alien mothership based in orbit above the Earth. He claimed that the Adept communicated with him telepathically and could take the form of his dead relatives. I'm really sorry, but for anyone who knows anything about these things, that's straight out of the demonic playbook. It really is. Then there's Dr. Stephen Greer. Now, Stephen Greer is a self-styled New Age guru who claims to be able to make ETs appear at will. He can levitate himself, he can foresee the future, and miraculously heal serious diseases. Now, he states he's a master of meditative techniques. He can enter cosmic consciousness at will, induce alien visitations via astral projection, and is protected by, get this, spiritual alien warriors. He is the Earth's ambassador to the aliens and can bring their ships here. So why doesn't he? Greer founded the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI, in 1990. SETI claims to have over 3,000 confirmed reports of UFO sightings by pilots and over 4,000 of what they describe as landing traces. Greer also founded the Disclosure Project, the goal of which is to publicly disclose the government's alleged knowledge of UFOs, extraterrestrial intelligence, and advanced energy and propulsion systems. Look, Dr. Greer talks a good story, but sadly there's really no hard evidence to back his claims. Besides, you have to ask, why would aliens that are capable of travelling across the universe in highly advanced spaceships use a Ouija board or dead relatives to communicate with us? Why not just drop in and say hi, or attack us? Either way, friend or foe, at least we would know they're real. Maybe we're just not ready to meet them, right? It's also weird that the messaging to people who've been abducted attacks Jesus Christ. People are told Jesus is one of us and Jesus is just a human we selected. But here's where it takes a serious turn. When you look at the accounts of abduction experiences and compare them to satanic ritual abuse, they mirror each other. They're very similar. There are even many non-believers and non-Christians who have noticed these similarities. Do you remember the final scene of Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Richard Dreyfuss' character Roy Neary makes it to the top of the mountain and there's a French scientist in charge. Well, that character is Dr. Claude Lacombe, played by Francis Truffaut. And that character is based on a real-life guy called Jacques Vallée. Jacques Vallée is an internet pioneer, computer scientist, venture capitalist, astronomer, author, and ufologist. He was a professional astronomer at the Paris Observatory. He co-developed the first computerized map of Mars and worked on the ARPANET, the precursor to the internet. He's also an important figure in the study of identified flying objects and an advocate for the scientific legitimacy of the extraterrestrial hypothesis, and later for promoting the interdimensional hypothesis, which says that the UFO phenomena is the result of experiencing interdimensional activity. Vallée has also made comparisons between alien abduction accounts and satanic ritual abuse. So the similarities between alien abduction and satanic ritual abuse seem to be more than coincidental. Both accounts have perpetrators that are described as reptilian, dark figures, create shadows in the mind, and the average age of the first alien abduction experience is around 5-6 years old, while a satanic ritual abuse survivor is initiated about the age of 6. Many researchers are joining the dots and seeing that so-called alien abductions very much mirror accounts of demonic encounters. I guess you have to take into account that some people may be mentally unstable or lying, but it seems there are too many obvious parallels and similarities for every account to be untrue. Sadly, alien abduction experiences really mess people up, both physically and mentally. In both accounts, the victims talk about memory loss, severe drowsiness, the feeling of being trapped, and paranormal out-of-body experiences. These events aren't pleasant. Many people are completely terrified and suffer with severe anxiety and paranoia. They can have visions of painless wounds on their bodies, and after the event complain of severe headaches, visual disturbances, nightmares, depression, and even suicidal feelings. This has resulted in people losing their jobs, breakup of marriages, family disruption, and complete loss of their physical health. Researchers commonly say that these experiences can't be stopped. Once you experience them, you continue without end. But as I mentioned earlier, the research of Joseph Jordan suggests that people who have called on the name of Jesus for help, well, it just stops the abduction experiences dead in the water. Now, this isn't openly talked about within the UFO community because anyone raising this would instantly lose credibility. One man who had repeatedly experienced abduction actually cried out to Jesus to help him, and the experience stopped. He woke up in his bed and never experienced an abduction event ever again. The evidence does suggest that these are not physical craft that are being caught on camera. For example, during the same sighting, the objects can be seen and not photographed, or photographed and not seen. Now, how does that work? The objects can also be detected by radar but not seen, or seen and not detected by radar. No sonic boom has ever been recorded, or air disturbance seen, even from objects travelling at really high speeds. And these objects frequently violate the laws of physics. They perform right-angled turns at high speed, sudden stops, and then accelerate to 15,000 miles per hour. They can change colour, they can change shape, and they can disappear, reappear, disintegrate, and reassemble. There are no electronic or control signatures being detected, and no physical crash debris has ever been recovered, even when a pilot has claimed to have shot one down. So, are there really little green men out there from a far-flung distant planet, or is this demonic activity? And why is it that these beings rubbish Christianity and demean Jesus so much, and yet calling on Jesus for help is the only thing that stops the abductions for good? I think the truth really is out there, and he told us exactly who he was. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me." Why else would these so-called aliens want to discredit him so badly? If you're viewing the video, leave a comment below, or if you're listening in on Radio Heaven, email hello@radioheaven.co and tell us what you think. Thanks for your company, and we'll see you next time.